Tony Fellow, Chair of the San Gabriel River Discovery Center Authority, and we have a special meeting today, and we're going to have a roll call, and Mr. Pedrosa is going to take over the stakeholders part of this meeting. Okay, Mr. Stanley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Robert Apodaca,
Dan Origi.
Tony Fellows,
Here.
John Wicker, Sam Pedrosa. Here. Mr. Chairman, you're short of a quorum, but I think we can move forward with the meeting.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Pedrosa will wrap up this meeting.
All right, thank you, Dr. Fellow. And Tony's our chair of the Joint Powers Authority, so it's good to have him here as part of the stakeholders and also, but to start off, we'll go ahead and go around the room and do self-introductions. So, and then we'll get into an update on where we're at with the Discovery Center. So, and then after that, we'll take the public comment and then we'll move on to the presentation. So we'll start off at the corner over here. You want to do a quick intro of who you are?
Hello, my name is Sally Ann Garcia, and I am the fiscal manager for the Watershed Conservation Authority. Hi.
Who are you?
I'm just this person trying to find a chair. Mary Ann Lutz, I'm with the foundation part of the group.
Jeff Yan, member of the Foundation Board.
Belinda Fastinos, member of the Foundation Board.
Hi, I'm Jim Stahl, engineering consultant with the Foundation Board, and used to be proudly a member of the sanitation committee staff.
Just played a small part here, huh? Nice
For a
to
little
see
while.
you.
Drexel Smith, member of the Foundation Board.
I'm Dr. Richard Shope. I'm the director of the Eco Voices Institute, which carries on the Eco Voices program for the Discovery Center.
My name's Annie Liu. I'm deputy director for the Eco Voices program.
Hugo Garcia, consultant to the authority, Discovery Center Authority. Andrea, do you want to?
No. Andrea Gello, the executive director of the Pudding Hills Habitat Preservation Authority.
You want to introduce yourselves?
Shannon Bishop with the LA County Sanitation District.
Nick Barajas, co-senate, Larry Narrows Nature Center.
Henry Pedregon, representative of the Gabriel Indians Quiche Nation.
Dr. Kerry Stickle, tribal archaeologist for the Quiche Nation.
I'm David Warren, a member of the public.
I'm Mike Lewis. Ken Manning told me I could have his cookies if I showed up today.
I'm Jim Othing. I'm a resident of Los Angeles County and City.
Go back there. Way in the corner, trying to hide.
I'm Helen Shope, daughter of Dr. Richard Shope.
Richard and Mark, and Tony and myself, and Roxanne behind us. So welcome to the Sanitation District. Jim knows the place here pretty well, but I think it's the first time that we hosted a Discovery Center meeting here. So I think that's why we were a little bit trying to get things situated. But this is a special meeting in that it's a way to update and also introduce ourselves to all the folks that are working on the Discovery Center project. So with that, we do have a couple members of the public that would like to speak. We have Henry Pentagon.
Yes.
Would like to
Sure. I'll just stand right here. I'm a representative of the Gabriel Nation, Quiche Nation, whose tribe encompasses all of Orange County, LA County, and parts of Riverside, and San Bernardino County. Our concern with the Discovery Center, and I'm sure you've already know that it is a certified sacred land site for the Native American Heritage Commission. We notified everybody related to this project, and we still get no respect, but that's another battle. Second issue is that in the EIR, in one section, the project contributes to climatic change, and it's quite significant according to the EIR. I'm wondering, has this been addressed by this board? What mitigation measures are you taking to offset this? We have not seen anything or heard anything to that effect. And lastly, about a month and a half ago, we were at the Eco Voices program for the kids. Of course, we were protesting against the Discovery Center, and we're handing out flyers. Now, we're appalled by Mr. Shope, who came by and tried to snatch the flyers out of our hands. He nearly knocked over a gentleman who was handing a flyer to a lady in a car, and told us that we cannot be there. You know, it's the First Amendment of public land. So I wish that maybe you guys take a little more tact if you decide that we should not be there. We have every right to be there, and we will be there if we have to.
How do you spell your last name, sir?
Pedregon.
And just to clarify, this is the stakeholders meeting, so the Joint Powers Authority is a different board that review the EIR.
That's the Discovery Centers.
Discoveries, correct. All right, Mr. Oldby.
Okay.
Let me just give everybody here. Backside is as good as the front side. It's directed to stakeholders because it was advertised as stakeholders meeting as our county force meeting as a board meeting. So read the backside too. It's directed to the stakeholders. This is only one stakeholder here. It's really much. I'll give you one. Everybody got one? You got one? You got one? Yeah. Would you pass them around? All right, this is a very important project. Last month it came out that the federal government is now going to allow people, young people, to take to the court for failing to protect the atmosphere from global warming gas, much like the Clean Air Act. Something new. It's important. The second side is just for your 2010 final environmental impact report, the excerpt. It says, just read the first sentence of the top application. The project will be contributing a significant cumulative impact on global climate change. There's some detail. But here you are in 2010 saying to build this project, which will cause greenhouse gases. And to answer Mr. Pedregon's question, you say that you cannot mitigate for it. So you're going to have an irreversible increase in accumulated of greenhouse gas. In 2010, you said this project was for the children. I think the truth of this project is done to the children.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. With that, we're going to jump right into the presentations. We have Mark Stanley will introduce the next two speakers for the River Exploration and Discovery Educational Program, Eco Voice, and the Eco Voices program update. Mark.
Thank you. We have several members of the team that's going to be speaking today. We're going to start with the program activities and the report on how successful the program has been coming along. And then we're going to move on to project updates. And we'll have some speakers for that as well. But we'll start with Mr. Hugo Garcia, who will provide us an overview on collecting data on this.
Thank you. I distributed some of the report to the Forest Service. I do a 6-month report, and in this case, it's a 5th semi-annual report that is for July 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015. And generally, it's a 6-month report, but it's also a cumulative report that begins August the 2nd of 2013 through December 31st, 2015. Generally, this report is designed to report on Eco Voices program service provision and targeted program outputs achieved during the aforementioned periods. Examples of targeted program outputs include the following: outreach to youth, schools, community organizations, which begins on page 3. Targeted output was 45 to 60 outreach activities. The output achieved was 64, so we exceeded the targeted amount. We'll have program coordination meetings, which begins as noted on beginning on page 5. Targeted output was 40 coordination meetings, and the output 100, so we more than doubled that output that we commit to the Forest Service. Eco Voices programming includes Eco Voices environmental science expeditions in the natural environment, water quality testing, geological activities relating to the San Gabriel watershed, and urban forest state of the ecosystem survey, vegetation, and bird identification. Targeted outputs for the aforementioned was 4,006 K to 12, grade 236, which is more than double the targeted amount. We also have a detailed program evaluating section beginning on page 22, program surveys. Responses, negative responses, did not respond, and unclear response. Including the following statistics: total report, positive responses, 869 responses, 14 respond not. Unclear indicates that the test in the eyes of the Eco Voices of the students. You might want to last Eco Voices programming, schools and educational institutions by list on the map, community providers on the map, and park and recreation and green dots on the map. So you outer circle inner targeted 25-mile radius, and to expand the dots education to students in the East San Gabriel Valley and Los Angeles area. Pretty much that's it. You can answer a lot of story of the Eco Voices programming. By the way, it doesn't capture all the numbers that have of students that have been served because the 2nd of 2013. Voices programming started on January of 2013. So there's probably, I would estimate, another 3 or 4 units that have been service captured on this. This is a report to the Forest Service, and began our programming with them. That's my report.
These,
Sure.
Any questions for Hugo?
Next, we'll have Dr. Schroep give us a presentation of program oversight.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, esteemed public, board of the San Gabriel River Discovery Center Authority, the foundation, and the stakeholders. So, who are we? This is Andy, Director. We are responsible for managing and operating what has been originally called the River Exploration and Discovery Program. I like river exploration and discovery because it spells out read, as in read nature. And we work in collaborative unity with all of the member agencies. And we'll be reaching out more specifically along the way. Also, focus is this would be the only place where we would have a true focus on inland waterways. And we're specifically creating a curriculum for the research, education, and workforce development, specifically around the San Gabriel River watershed, so that the children and families who come through have an insight wherever they go. So it's a gateway experience from this location out to all other natural areas. We're in a unique location because we're in the midst of disadvantaged communities with school-aged children. So we reach out to those communities by partnering with the school districts to provide this robust outdoor environmental education through our inquiry expedition approach. And of course, we're aligned with the next generation science standards with special emphasis on understanding the regional consequences of global climate change, which is possibly the biggest decision-making process that our children of the next generation are going to face.
So, as Dr. Shope introduced me earlier, I'm Annie Liu, and I'm a curriculum developer, lead inquiry coach, and specialist in biology, microbiology, especially as it applies to watershed awareness. I mentor other inquiry coaches and guide students through the water quality research, education, and workforce development. One of our goals is to alert students to the health and well-being aspects of ecosystem services and how we cope with things like vector control and water resource management. We encourage students by immersing them as research colleagues on a science expedition, helping them be and become environmental scientists and stewards.
By the way, we took immersing literally a couple weeks ago when I actually slipped and fell into the river on one of our expeditions. It was really enlightening.
Or refreshing.
Refreshing. So we structure the learning experience, moving our participants through these elements. And as we do this, we invite guest experts. We call them wandering scholars. And of course, we have our science-savvy inquiry coaches. We like to invite college students who are studying different science and recreation and landscape architecture type fields so that the students can work alongside people who are entering those types of fields. And it gives them a connection to their career pathways. And of course, we take them through the scientific process, keeping science journals, and then they have an opportunity to perform. The purpose of the theatrical element is to give them greater confidence. So when they stand up before an audience, they can do so with verve and enjoyment.
Our curriculum draws from Discovery Center location itself as we engage students in highly relevant studies and environmental service projects, conduct ecosystem surveys that help us understand how the ecosystem is responding to long-term drought. We also address environmental issues such as community resilience and restorative biodiversity.
So we go beyond the notion that one expedition experience is enough. We want many return visits. We're working with the idea that we can create a program that is for lifelong learners, both families and students, so that they come to know themselves as capable of choosing advanced studies in science and technical fields, which we need to face these big issues in the future. So in order to do that, they need to have a direct and personally relevant experience, and that's what we're providing through the business.
So here you see Dr. Sho in his performer role as the wandering scholar, engaging students in science banter. We invite guest experts so that students can work and learn alongside of practicing professionals. Call it a variation of the Socratic method, evoking the voices of students in active participation. Dr. Sho, what are you doing?
I'm practicing.
Practicing. What are you practicing for?
Well, to save water for the drought.
How is that going to help?
Well, I'm taking shorter showers.
There's got to be a better way.
Sure, no showers at all. Well, anyway, that gives you a taste of things to come and what's been out there. Oh, you got so caught up? So, this is all under contract with the World Space Foundation, which has been around for a very long time, focusing on science education, scientific research, and workforce development. I'm president of World Space. And with that, we bid you adieu, and we look forward to bringing this to life every week of the year for the next several years during this great process. Thank you.
So not a question, I just want to make a comment that, I've had the privilege of observing the Echo Voices programs not only at Whittier Narrows but in other venues, and I have to say, he's like the Pied Piper. He just gets the kids engaged, motivated, interested in the subject matter, and something that is near and dear to all of our hearts in terms of water resources and how we manage them and take care of them. And I think to bring it to a level where a first grader can understand and appreciate what the messaging is phenomenal. So I just want to give Mr. Shoup my personal congratulations for the program for just doing a fabulous job. I think it's one of the best I've seen.
Any other questions or comments before we go to public comment?
I just want to say I'm happy Columbus said that, because I was going to say the same thing. Every time I go there, the energy he has and the involvement and the interest in students. Being a professor, I was get some ideas from you too, so you do a great job.
Do you have a comment?
Yes, even though despite whatever happened at that time with the Nature Center with Mr. Schultz, you know, I was really impressed with the kids, the energy they had to walk through this, you know, program they provided. They were all excited even after when it concluded. My question is, are we telling these kids, maybe in a year or so from now, if they walk those same paths, they'll be going to a parking lot?
So, okay, well, it's not, you don't answer the comment or questions from the audience members, but I will address that this program addresses one of the biggest needs that the center needed. We've always worked with trying to put together a center that encompasses all the goals of and all the targets that we're looking at, from watershed to water education and history education, and the agencies that were part of this, from the sand districts to the upper San Diego Valley Municipal Water Districts and other organizations, we didn't have that element. So to be able to contract out with Equal Voices and have that program grow, I think that's what it's been a great partnership. And so even being able to work with where you're at now, I think that once the center is finally put together, I think your program will be able to even grow big and have more of an impact. So it would be part of not just the indoor experience, but also definitely the outdoor experience, the way it's currently set up. So any other comments or questions on that?
Sam, I'm glad you brought that up. But, 24 years ago, when we had this idea, particularly at Upper District, our goal is to teach, really for elementary school students and high school students, to get them out of the classroom. And so that's why I'm very grateful and happy that Richard's doing this. And I think eventually we'll be talking about the whole history of that area, so everything will be inclusive. But, we want to teach.
And the numbers that Hugo presented earlier are showing that the impact is getting out there. So we are reaching out to the students and the cleanup happening. Mark, do you have an additional quorum, or do you want to go right into the Discovery Center project update?
I think we can go next into the project update. Okay, we'll have two presenters for the project update. We'll have Roxana Maraji and Sally Ann Garcia. Roxana is our project manager, and Sally Ann is the fiscal manager for the project.
Good afternoon. Roxanne, your voice is kind of soft. You might need to stand up.
Good afternoon, my name is Roxana Marashi, and my colleague Sally Ann Garcia. We're with the Watershed Conservation Authority. We're going to give you an update on the Discovery Center. I'm the project manager for the Discovery Center project.
Speak up.
I'm the project manager for the Discovery Center project. Mark Stanley is the executive officer, and Sally Ann Garcia is the fiscal manager. We're going to be going over the Discovery Center Authority, the DAR, where the Discovery Center project is located, general project overview, and finally revenue expenditure report of the project. Discovery Center Authority is a joint powers authority. It was formed in 2005 to provide planning, development, construction, and operation of the San Gabriel River Discovery Center, which is approximately 11.3 acres within the Whittier Narrows Recreation Area. The Discovery Center is a watershed management and interpretive learning facility that will enhance natural habitat, provide a regional model of stormwater management best practices, integrate educational and recreational activities, and provide for new classrooms and exhibit spaces. Here are some examples of other science-based educational facilities that are located in Long Beach, Orange County, very successful science-based educational facilities. Here's the Whittier Narrows area. It's approximately 1,492 acres. located in the city of South Miami, and it is one of LA County's largest and most popular recreation areas. The park is located on both sides of the Pomona 60 freeway at Rosemead Boulevard and Santa Ana Avenue. There is a 300-acre nature area. Point that out to you. It's right around here. And that's where the Discovery Center site was chosen due to its connection to the San Gabriel River, being above the 100-year floodplain, and since it already has areas that are disturbed for construction. This is some images of the Whittier Nature Center right now. As you can see, there's some buildings over there in that left photo that include a small museum, gift shop, library. There's also a covered open-air classroom at the site already, restrooms, maintenance garage, and other outbuildings. There's also a small parking area and a county police substation that exists on site. And on the right, you see the trail. Next, I'm going to talk to you about the mission of the San Diego River Discovery Center. Its mission is to be an educational resource that interprets the San Diego River watershed to encourage exploration and increase understanding, appreciation, and stewardship of the revitalized San Diego River. Its goals are environmental education and awareness, watershed and ecological history, habitat enhancement and stormwater management, recreational activities, and environmental stewardship. Some of the site elements of the project include a constructed wetland, a naturalized bioswale, 2 outdoor classrooms, vehicular access and parking area, pedestrian pathways, an interpretive center and indoor exhibit, and outdoor interpretive features and educational programming. Here is the site plan of the project. It's approximately 5.9 acres within the 11.3 acre lease boundary of the River Nature Center. The Army Corps of Engineers, the underlying property owner, and finding of no significant impact was founded in March 2010 based on the environmental assessment. The construction is broken into 2 stages. Stage 1 is primarily the outdoor landscape elements, which include the wetland, the naturalized bioswale, parking area, walnut woodland restoration, and system of trails and interpretive elements, and the outdoor classroom. Stage 2 is the actual Discovery Center building and another uncovered outdoor classroom. Some of the project benefits. There will be more restored natural habitat. There will be an expanded, more expanded outdoor activities, more hands-on exhibit space. There will be classroom and meeting spaces and more outreach programs. The project is basically broken up into 3 steps. Step 1 is the enhanced education and interpretive programming, which Equal Voices is part of, and it was established in 2012. Step 2 is the stage 1 construction of the water quality components and the restoration of the site area. And stage 2 is the construction of the main interpretive center building and the outdoor classroom. Just a brief overview. 2010, the CEQA was certified. 2011, a draft development plan was opened and given out to you for public comment. In 2012, Equal Voices was established. 2015, construction documents were made. And now we're going through the permitting process, and we will enter the bid period later this summer and begin construction in the fall. So here's updates on our permitting status. Right now, electrical, geotechnical, and mechanical are complete, and all the other ones are pending. Now I'd like to move forward with Sally Ann, who will speak with you about the revenue and expenditure report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Sally Ann Garcia with the Watershed Conservation Authority, and I'm the business manager. And I will be going over the revenue and expenditures as well as the activities that were the funds that were expended on. you're up here, you can read it. So let me just highlight, currently all our sources amount to $9,267,000. Source that we have includes the RMC capital grant, which was approved in 2005 for $3 million. This was mainly expended for construction documents, design development, capital project management, as well as permitting. The United States Forest Service grant for $137,000. That's primarily for the eco-voice program on-site and as well as off-site. The bottom three are other sources, including the Top A grant for $3 million. This will be mostly spent for project management as well as construction. And the Supplemental Environment Project, or the SEP, for $2.2 million. And this is only for self-supported elements, which includes the constructed wetlands, erosion control, and native plant landscaping. The SEP funds remain after completion of these elements. Funds may be used for native tree landscaping, water conservation fixtures, and an irrigation system to be connected to the nearby recycled water distribution system. Next are the current expenditures as of March 31st, 2016. Oh, no, go back. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. For the architectural engineering, we do have contract with Packer Architects for approximately $919,000. And this for construction documents and construction administration for services such as architectural, civil, and exhibit design. The DCA contracts with the WCA, right here, for approximately $407,000. Because the DCA does not have any full-time employees, they contract with the WCA to handle project management, operational, and administrative tasks. Now, most of the preliminary phases of the project has been dependent on the RMC capital grant, however, it cannot carry us through stage 1 construction. Currently, the balance of the RMC grant is $56K, and although we've been approved for $5.25 million, these funds have already been committed to specific elements of the project. For example, over $2 million is for water quality components, such as the wetlands construction and stormwater management. These particular funds cannot pay for the outdoor classroom, administrative activities, or educational programming at the site. You can see here, this is the current outdoor classroom, and this is the artistic rendering of the new classroom at the Discovery Center. Projects such as the Discovery Center are often launched with special or limited funding. However, projects that are enriching community energy from the community and from stakeholders have a greater likelihood of obtaining additional funds to complete them. One key example is the Sacramento River Discovery Center. Here is the completed metal along with our greenhouse. Applying for the center is in the Red Bluff Recreation Center area began in 1994. Their initial funds were expended on groundwork, design documents, and a temporary portable for the DC and admin offices. But as it gained support from its community and representatives from over 40 public and private groups, the Sacramento River Discovery Center has been identified as one of the 200 most diverse ecosystems in the world, with over 125 species of birds that visit this area. Now, they're similar to us because they have a wetlands and a wilderness, and they also have a riparian forest. So you can see that we have the same environmental aspects with the Sacramento River Discovery Center Authority.
Thank you from all of us.
All right, Mark, anything to add?
No, just to point out Sally-Ann's comments about the funding, the $9.2 million is all committed at this time. So that leaves about $4.5 million for a facility in stage 2, about $4 million of exhibits that would fill that facility, and then approximately another $3 million for additional site improvements that we need to continue to identify and make part of this project.
Any questions? Great presentations. Any questions for them? For Mark?
Well, I think we had one request over here, but let's speak for Jim. In terms of getting a copy of the report, of the actual PowerPoint, it'd be great if we could get it emailed to us.
Sure,
Just make it into a PDF.
sure.
Yeah, that contains a lot of information and a background too, which I really appreciate it because it's been a long time, especially seeing the timeline. I think that's very helpful. Background experience. Right. So does everyone feel like we're up to speed, knowing what the project, and even the goals, and actually, in the fight, Mary Ann is here, it's a great time to also point out the fact that all the cities are facing stormwater issues, of course, and a large component of that program that cities are going to have to engage in is education and the behavioral issues. And that's where this center would be a fantastic facility. In fact, if anyone has visited the Hyperion's water, I think theirs is called the Learning Center. And it addresses exactly some of the goals that you want to see with this center, is that behavior of those, a kid or an adult throwing trash on the ground, and the effect that has all through the watershed and how it flows and seen it firsthand. So,
That's this.
yeah, that's right. So I think it'd be great if we could even coordinate a trip down there at some point so that we can see it firsthand and kind of have a better sense of the goal. But that's something that has come up. I mean, it's always been the intent of this center to have something like that, but today it's more than ever a very important feature of this center. All right. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I would just like to add one more thing. The Discovery Center project, it would provide a rich and unique educational opportunity for the 8.5 million residents who live within 20 miles of the project location. These other educational facilities that you see here are not within those 20 miles. So Discovery Center would really reach a large diverse population within the San Diego Valley.
Hopefully that will help us in qualifying for any grants and programs. All right, we'll move on to then just general comments from the committee. Any comments?
Great presentation. Both of them,
And how about the group at large?
Having been involved with Sam at the initiation of this project back in 1999, it's great to see ground being broken, and I think this is really going to fulfill the educational objectives that we envisioned back then. And certainly with the amount of drought years we've had and the lack of really any rain from the current El Nino year, this is going to be more and more important. So I'm very glad to see this going forward.
Any other comments in the audience? Well, as we move along with the project, we know that there's still some hard feelings, but you've been at it for a long time, and hopefully we could evolve into a place where we could accept and even change the project as needed to incorporate even more of some of the concerns that are out there. But I think this project is well suited to have that capacity to enlarge the outlook of it, structure. We've already been down that road, but it really enhance the programming and even the things that we want to focus on. So it's a great project, and it's taken a long time, and I think we'll get there.
Sam, some of the things that I mentioned, we talked about last week, is we want to get more of the community involved, get it out there and get some exposure, and perhaps, especially when this is completed, it's going to be a great community to have various types of events and amenities that we develop.
Right, I mean, as you can see, the staff is, there's only a couple folks that are working on this locally. The ability to go out there and do do the outreach, really work really everything that's in the presentation is showing the community what it is, what the center really is all about. I think that's where we need to look at drawing from any of the folks that you may know to help us get this project more attention and get more working with local media outlets.
So maybe one question, and I understand if the numbers aren't readily available, but I know that there was an extensive outreach effort to gain supporters, and we have, I think, a comprehensive list of not only elected officials, but educators, nonprofit organizations. So if you could share that, in particular with the foundation members, it would be really helpful, I think, to understand the work that has been done to really educate, the general public and some of our civic leaders about this project, and the fact that once they hear about it, understand what the objectives of the project are, that they, really embrace it, support it, and want to become a champion. So it'd be good to maybe just a quick little summary on where we're at.
Absolutely, we'll get that out to you, because you're absolutely correct. We have folks who represent the community, we have educators, we have environmentalists, and we have just a general community that's in support of this project. And the list is quite extensive, and I would love to share that with you.
Right, speaking of sharing, this is the first time I've seen an entity foundation board, and I think it would behoove us to meet at least once a year and talk.
We are reinvigorated to raise money. This kind of stuff is very helpful.
I have one quick thing. Before all of you take off, the reason I invited my daughter was to get some photo ops, especially since it's such a rare gathering. We want to make sure we take some photos.
All right, well, we'll work with Mark in coming up with the agenda for another meeting. We'll collaborate and bring you some more information. All right, with that, if there are no other comments or questions, we are adjourned, and we'll gather real quick for a photo.
Right up there.
And